To Iran, where protests against rising living costs have been gathering pace in recent days, with the president calling for national unity and solidarity. In Fars province, security forces fired at protesters while crowds tried to storm a local government building. Authorities say at least one person has been killed in a western region. Iran's chief prosecutor has warned of a decisive response if the protests threaten to destabilise the country. The demonstrations began on Sunday after shopkeepers in Tehran's Grand Bazaar walked off the job. Iranians are angry at the rapid decline of their currency, which is one part of their worsening economic situation. President Masoud Pezeshkian has appealed for unity. He says that there's pressure coming from inside the country and from abroad.
We are engaged in a full-scale war. Right now, the enemy has placed most of its hopes on knocking us down through economic pressure. You cannot conquer a nation with bombs, fighter jets or missiles. To defeat us, they would have to come and face us on the ground. And if they were to confront this nation on the ground, if we remain determined, united and committed to working together to make our country proud, it would be impossible for them to bring Iran to its knees.
Tohid Asadi is in Tehran. Tohid, protests started in Tehran, as we said, with shopkeepers, but they've spread far beyond the Grand Bazaar now of the capital. How big has this become?
Well, actually, over the past few days, we have been witnessing sporadic protests here across the capital, even though for the past 2 days, the situation looks to be a little bit calm compared to the days when it started in the vicinity of areas near the Grand Bazaar of Tehran and Jumhuri Avenue. And if you look at that location, you can understand what is all about, and it's basically about the economic demands that people are raising. And of course, as you mentioned, it's not just limited to the capital. In major and now in some small cities of the country, we have been witnessing the same amount of protest, even though I can say that it has yet to gain the momentum, the traction. We can see from time to time different protests in different cities of the country. The latest report comes from Tohid, a city in which the escalation ramped up, resulting in a sort of confrontation between protesters and security forces. And according to the latest report, one of the Basij militia was killed in this protest, and also 13 other security forces were injured. But all in all, the picture is that the security forces are practicing extreme amount of caution, seeing the very fact that the country, the state, the security apparatus is not really, they are all not interested into further escalation of the situation, because if that goes to a nationwide level, that would be running the risk of going out of control. So we see a sort of patience when it comes to security forces and when it comes to the political discourse that we have been hearing over the past few days.
You know, in the past, when the Iranian government has been faced with protests, they've always ended up cracking down on those protests. Sometimes, I should say often, violently cracking down. What is the response now?
Well, actually, I would say it's different. It's quite different compared to the previous times that we witnessed protests in Iran. First of all, it's interesting to note that the prosecutor general of the country said that any sort of action to destabilize the country is not going to be tolerated. Meanwhile, interestingly, he said that we understand that it is the legitimate rights of people to take part in peaceful protests, considering the economic hardship that the ordinary citizens are dealing. At the same time, the spokesperson for the government, Fatima Mohajirani, came out with the same sentence, saying that Iran recognizes the right of people to take part in protests. That's totally different story, Cyril, because in the previous rounds of protests, first, we didn't have such a reaction, and second, we didn't have such an immediate reaction. The government coming out very soon after the protests erupted to acknowledge that, yes, we understand that there are difficulties, we understand the social and economic realities of the life for people, and at the same time, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, over the past days, in several occasions in an interview, he is repeatedly saying that the government is working hard to deal with the difficulties. They are trying to come up with measures to settle down the economic difficulties for the people, and he just introduced a new set of measures accompanied by appointment of a new governor for the central bank of the country.
Tohid Asadi reporting from the Iranian capital. Thank you very much.
Don't miss out, get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.